Now,
Nitro.
my favorite television show. You know what? I'm not going to review David Flair's match with Chris Benoit yet, okay?
Good.
But earlier in the show, there's an interview with David. And Tori's got an outfit on.
Oh, my.
Okay?
She sure did.
And it's pretty hot. It's not like the hottest thing I've ever seen, okay?
Oh, I don't know.
She's got like a little top and a little skirt.
Yeah.
Emphasis on little.
Okay.
Both of
What
those.
is wrong with you?
All right, it was awesome. But the point of this is, she's had a lot of really hot outfits.
That's fair.
Sure.
Okay. She's had a lot of outfits I've found to be a lot hotter than this one. All right?
Okay.
But when I saw David Flair doing that promo, and I saw Tori, it was like, I remember this. Like, oh my God, it's the show. It suddenly hit me.
Uh-huh.
Do you know how many times I watched David Flair versus Chris Benoit?
More than once.
Thousands of times.
I like to point out, by the way, the match had already been announced for like an hour.
I hadn't paid any attention.
Clearly.
She came out in that outfit, and I was like, I knew I wasn't just remembering the outfit because of the outfit. There was something about it that I was remembering from this show. And David's there, and he's doing his stupid promo, and she's standing next to him, and all of a sudden, all of this started flooding back into my mind. Like, I ruined this videotape watching this match over and over again. I've seen a lot of great matches since then. I can't say that it's my favorite squash of all time.
It's up there.
God damn, did that fucking match hold up. It was so good. And I'm watching it, and I just realized this is where my love of chops came from.
Watching Benoit chop David Flair.
19 years later, I am part of the Chop and Roll Express with a UFC fighter, all because of this fucking match right here, and Chris Benoit chopping the shit out of David Flair. God, this was great. Let's start this show. I'm in a great mood now.
WCW Monday Nitro number 201, also July 26th, 1999. So Curt Hennig was on Thunder. He called out Goldberg for this show. Mean Gene comes out he brings out Hulk Hogan for a promo. Hogan runs down Kevin Nash for a while. And then Nash comes out with Sid Vicious and Rick Steiner, still one of the weirdest trios I ever remember happening. In fact, I didn't remember it happening. They all attack and overwhelm him. Sting makes a save with his bat. And then Nash cuts a promo. And Nash says, Hogan, challenges him to a tag match later, and says, I've got my partner. Do you have a partner? Or something like that. Mm-hmm. But he makes it very clear, I have a tag team partner. And this becomes the mystery for the rest of this program. Who is Kevin Nash's tag team partner? He's standing there with Rick Steiner on one side and Sid Vicious on the other, but he has a tag team partner.
Who could it be?
Yeah. Hogan looks at Sting. Sting looks at Hogan, but then Sting walks away without committing to anything.
You know, Hogan's out there doing his 80s babyface, old school Hogan promo.
It was awesome.
And he starts burying Kevin Nash and keeps calling him Kevina.
That wasn't awesome.
And then later he calls him Kevette.
Yes.
And I'm like, if you're a heel and you got some stupid nickname like Kevina for Kevin Nash or Kevette, like you can pull that off because you're supposed to be uncool, but you think you're cool. This fucking guy's a babyface trying to get people to cheer as he calls Kevin Nash a grown man, and Hogan's a grown man in his 40s.
A very grown man.
Calling him Kevina and Kevette. It was so bad. But the fans are going apeshit for this guy as a babyface.
Juventud Guerrera and Psychosis versus Bobby Duncombe Jr. and Kendall Windham.
Juventud must have taken up the Eddie Guerrero weightlifting regiment because he is huge this week.
Got bigger?
I didn't notice that. I was busy watching him fuck everything up.
Well, there is that.
I mean, him and Kendall Windham get in the ring. Okay? I realize I say this, and sometimes I'm exaggerating, but they literally fucked up everything that they tried. They fucked up a lockup. Kendall pushes him to the corner, his own fucking corner, and Hoovie's partner, who's his partner? Psychosis?
Yes.
Fucking Psychosis has to just stand there like a fucking moron because he can't tag yet. But this idiot pushed him to the corner. So then they try to hip toss. a hip toss. Fucked it up.
Yep.
And then that was it. And then Sikoa just tags in. I guess he could take no more. When Kendall Windham pushed Hoovy into his own corner to beat on him, I was like, on your first day of wrestling school, in a tag match, you could take him to your own corner. You could take him to the neutral corners.
Yes.
The one place you don't take him is his own goddamn corner. That's where Kendall took him.
I went to Portland this weekend and I saw Ray Orez wrestle Ray Phoenix.
I'll bet it was better than this.
They were better luchadors than Juventud Guerrero, Brian.
No shit.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you.
So what I liked about this match, and I like this. This is a sincere, positive thing. If you do the exact same formula, Brian's baffled. If you do the exact same formula tag match every time, it gets very, very predictable. So they beat up Psychosis for a long time. They teased a hot tag, but the ref didn't see it, so he pushes Hoovy back in the corner, and they just hit him with a double bulldog and pin him.
Okay, fine.
There was no
I'll
hot
give you
tag.
that.
There was no comeback. They just beat a guy.
Okay.
I'll give you that. It was different. That's good.
Yes.
That's the only good thing about this match.
That's the only good thing I have to say.
The wrestling in this match was bottom of the barrel, but it was funny. I was howling. And Hoovy, they put Hoovy in the fucking ring with Kendall Windham, and they were going to run spots.
That was the idea.
Dude.
Miss Madness is backstage.
Oh my God. This was...
Okay, first of all,
There's nothing in WWE, okay? You ever listen to me right now? There's nothing they do nowadays. I'm talking Bayley and Sasha. There's nothing worse than this with Miss Madness and Madusa. But it was fucking hilarious.
first of all,
Because nothing was scripted, and they're out there. Medusa is clearly called in the ring, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
She's just got to say some stuff. And she fucking waffles back and forth. She wants to be Mona's friend. Then she wants to kick her ass. She wants to be her friend. A fucking phone rings off camera.
Yes.
She works it into her promo.
That's probably Gorgeous
I'll bet
George.
That's George calling. She's certain there's a conspiracy here with George. Comes off as just a crazy woman. They're all crazy. I love this segment, but it was horrific.
the other thing that you should notice, maybe it's just me, I could not turn my TV up loud enough to hear them.
Well, yeah.
Did anyone bring a microphone to this backstage promo? So, yeah, I think, I am far from clear, but I think they decided to finish George off tonight.
Yeah, but then when they were done, Madusa decides to add, I want to kick your butt still, she says.
I didn't get that.
And Mona is baffled.
You don't say.
And they're going to have a match at Road Wild.
That's right. They're fighting at Road Wild.
Madness and Mona? Or Madness and
Yes.
Madusa? I like when she's sad. She's I can't be Miss Madness anymore. I'm just Mona.
Yeah, she's been fired. She's been fired.
When did this happen, by
from
the way?
being Miss Madness. Apparently the pay-per-view or
Thunder?
something. I don't know. Thunder? Like everything happens on Thunder. It's terrible.
So at this point, they say Nitro is brought to you by the French onion chicken grill sandwich at Wendy's.
This is what you remembered?
I thought, damn, that sounds good.
I remember Tori's outfit. And you remember a goddamn chicken sandwich from Wendy's?
Well, I actually didn't remember it. I didn't remember it.
Oh, I see.
But it sounded good.
I see.
And now I want one, but I can't because this is 19 years ago and they don't have it anymore. So I went to YouTube. The commercial's on there. This sandwich looks so fucking good.
You could probably have them make you the sandwich.
I could probably grill my own onions and take them to Wendy's if I want a chicken sandwich, but
I'm sure that Wendy's has onions. You could probably ask for a chicken sandwich, add onions.
I can try that.
You know, it reminds me, though. What pizza place was it? Was it Round Table? There's Round Tables around here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Round Table,
Still
one
around.
day, they had an artisan pizza. But it was like, only during the summer we've got this artisan, and they never had it again. It was so good. I looked for this artisan pizza for years and years afterwards. Now you can run down to Mod Pizza and probably make the exact same fucking pizza. It'd probably be way better. But I still wish they'd just bring it back just one time. And it'd probably suck. Just like that chicken sandwich.
It probably would have, honestly. It's a Wendy's chicken sandwich, and they've never brought it back since.
There was also, you youngsters will remember this, way back in the day, Lay's barbecue chips tasted different. One day they changed the recipe. They've never been the same. I've been looking for these barbecue chips my whole life. I don't remember what they taste like.
But they were better.
I just remember they were the best. Tony, do you remember these? Hell yeah. Oh yeah, he remembers.
When I was
God damn it.
When I was a kid,
Skipper's clam chowder?
No,
They don't make it like that anymore.
When I was a kid, I loved Cookie Crisp cereal. And then one day I bought it as an adult and said, this is not the same thing. And I'm not alone in thinking that. Apparently there was this company sale, and when the company was sold, they changed the formula.
I hate
it sucks
that.
now.
There's a cake at Costco that Whitney used to love, a chocolate cake. They don't make it like that anymore. Probably would kill you.
I'm sure it would.
Man, it was good, though.
Vampiro versus Rey Mysterio Jr.
Fun match.
This was a lot of fun. They were working their asses off, and Vampiro had no problem slamming this little man around without mercy. So Rey makes his comeback. He fights off the Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah, the Insane Clown Posse's out there.
Yeah. But Vampiro hits a Michinoku driver. He goes up top. Rey goes up top for a top rope Rana. The clowns hold Vampiro, so he can't go down.
This was clever.
Yeah. And Vampiro catches Rey, hits a big giant power bomb off the ropes. And I think, man, he's going to pin Rey and get a big win. And then the clowns hit the ring and attack Rey Mysterio for the DQ.
Yeah. I guess they didn't want to beat Rey.
They had it won.
If I was Vampiro, I'd have kicked their asses.
Yes.
He
I just beat Rey Mysterio Jr. and you assholes.
They're not here to win. They're here to just...
They cut a
scare
promo.
people.
I was just beyond baffled. So Eddie Guerrero makes a save, and Violent J cuts a promo saying, "We're here to kick some ass. We're not here to rock
Actually,
and roll."
He cut an awesome promo. He
He's
goes...
Violent J. He always does.
He says, Vampiro has friends in wicked places. And we're not here to wave our hands because they had that stupid thing in WWE. We're here to kick some ass. That was awesome. I'm a big fan of these clowns.
I don't know what I
A
ever,
rare set of clowns I'm a big fan
Sure.
of.
I don't know what I ever did to Monday Nitro to deserve this.
Oh, my God.
They booked Vincent versus Stevie Ray on a show I was watching.
They sure fucking did.
Why?
Why? Not only that, Vinny. Before Vincent and Stevie Ray wrestle, Vincent cuts a promo.
Yeah.
Did you understand a word he said?
Let me see what I wrote here.
He had the mic upside down
First
or
of all,
something. Like, fuck, he can't do anything right.
First of all, Stevie's coming out as he's talking, so the music's still playing. So
Yeah.
that doesn't help. Let's see. Stevie was coming down the aisle when Vincent said Stevie had no backbone and they would leave him flat on his back.
He said Stevie doesn't leave the black and white leaves Stevie. That was the big thing.
How can a man that had been in pro wrestling so long look like he'd had 2 wrestling classes?
Because he did!
He is so horrible.
He
Which one are we
barely
talking about?
ever
Vincent.
wrestled.
I was talking about Stevie. I thought Stevie was worse.
Oh, goodness. Vincent is horrendous.
Craig, you had more matches in your entire career than Vincent had before he came to WCW. Probably like your first month.
So this
They
is
have
one
a
of those
horrific
matches.
match.
I'm watching this, and I'm watching it, and like it slaps me in the face how absolutely terrible this is, and I'm not appreciating it. I had to go back and start from the beginning to really take in just how terrible this wrestling was.
You didn't just cut your losses and move on?
I have a job to do.
You are a glutton for punishment, my
I'm
friend.
a professional.
Yeah, well, you are.
It's my job to tell these listeners how shitty this match was. So it's fucking shitty.
Oh,
That's
dude.
what I determined.
Right.
Horace jumps on the apron. He's hitting Stevie
He's just
right in front of
Decking,
the ref.
he's wailing on him. The ref's
No
like,
DQ.
knock it off, dick.
Yep. Heels get run together. Stevie hits a big boot. That's like the finish of every match ever.
Right.
But he can't pin him. First, he's got to hit him with a slapjack. Okay. They do an interference spot, and
Right.
Stevie hits a boot. This should be the finish.
Absolutely.
Nope. I'm going to get out my slapjack. Whacks him with the slapjack behind the ref's back. I'm like,
enough.
fine, get your stupid fucking thing over. That's not the finish. Now he's got to pick this fucking guy up and also give him the worst pedigree of all time. Now he's happy pinning Vincent.
Well, I'm glad you got all that, because as this was going on, as Stevie was getting in his move, I believe Booker T was fighting off Bright Adams with a chair, but I
Yes.
can't tell for sure because both things were going on at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
What awful television. But, as you said, so bad it's funny. It was hysterically bad. I thought this was much worse, by the way, than the Cowboys match with Juventud.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it was
That was
worse.
hard.
Yeah, the Juventud match was funny.
Okay.
They botched more spots in the Juventud match because they were trying.
I see.
I don't know what... I can't tell if these guys were trying. I hope not.
Gene is outside Hogan's locker room door when Sting pushes him aside and goes in. Maybe Hunter was in there.
Sting walks into Hogan's dressing room. The door closes, and Mean Gene Okerlund says, "Who will be Hogan's tag team partner?" They cut away. Mystery.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
Sting comes out for a promo. Says, "I am the president of WCW and I have a big decision." He asks the fans, should it be showtime tonight? Hogan comes out to plead his case. Says, Stinger, I'm not the same Hollywood. You can trust me. Then he says, quote, I will not stab you in the back tonight.
Everybody boos.
Right.
You know, I think if you have to explicitly say, I will not stab you in the back, that is a bad sign.
Well, you know, it is a bad sign, Vinny, because he has stabbed him in the back repeatedly. So now he's telling him, like, seriously, this time, I'm not going to stab you in the back. I'm a new man.
So Sting, who has heard this exact same speech with the exact same results from Ric Flair 200 times, says he agrees, but says, if you screw me, I'll get you.
That was a good line.
And he's leaving, and Hogan has to get in the last line, so he just says, fair enough. And that's that. So Hogan and Sting are a tag team for tonight.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Jason Hervey comes out to do commentary. Should we talk about Jason just now? I wrote down a bunch of stuff he said.
Let's do that.
All right, so Jason Hervey was on
The Wonder Years.
The Wonder Years.
He was Wayne, the older brother.
And then he and Bischoff started like a production company or whatever. They worked together. So this fucking guy does commentary. And there was one human being on the face of the planet that thought he was any good. You'll never guess who it was.
Jason Hervey.
Eric Bischoff.
Oh, him too.
Everybody thought he sucked. Because he fucking sucked.
Yes.
But he was Bischoff's friend, and I think he's on TV for like a while now.
Oh, Lord.
He shows up as soon as they cut to the three of them. It's Bobby Heenan, Scott Hudson, and Jason Hervey, and Heenan is just shaking his head back and forth.
Yeah.
He doesn't know who's about to unfold. Now,
There's such a huge, vast difference between Bobby Heenan and his subtle jabs and humor, and then this idiot won't shut his pie hole.
he did talk constantly. I found it to be exactly like Shane McMahon at this point, only I thought less annoying. Now, he was no good, all right? But I would rather listen to Jason Hervey than Matt Stryker.
Well, yeah. I
I'd
guess.
rather listen to Jason Hervey
Yeah, I guess.
than the modern Raw or SmackDown announced teams.
I'd rather not listen to anybody who sucked.
Yeah.
Ah,
I mean, if we really have to.
sure.
What I'm saying is I don't think he was the worst announcer I've ever heard.
Also, he was up there.
Is it weird that I associate him more with being the kid who gets Pee-wee's bike and Pee-wee's Big Adventure than with the Wonder Years?
No, I guess not. I don't know.
It is the same guy. Is it? Mm-hmm. I have been ready since first call. Roll camera. I watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure a lot.
So much.
Prince Iakea versus Lash Laroo. Went like 30 seconds, and Randy Savage comes out with George.
Funny you should mention that, by the way, because when Ben Stiller came out,
Yeah, Pee-wee's in that movie.
yeah, he mentions Pee Wee Herman. Of all of the actors he mentioned, Pee Wee got the biggest pop.
Yeah.
And Lawler goes, great to see him back in theater again.
Yeah, that's all he had to say.
This is
It was so good.
That's funny.
That was hilarious.
this is where Jason got in one of his great comments. You see the L that's on Lash LaRue's face? That's actually a J for Jason. Me.
Yeah, he was terrible.
Yeah, but then he laughed at his own jokes. The fact that he laughed at his own jokes like a good heel, that softened the blow for me a lot. So, yeah.
You know how many people, hey, here's a trivia question for you. Do you guys know how many people switched the channels during Lash LaRue and Prince Iakea? Anybody want to make a guess?
50,000.
I'm going to go higher. I'm going to go 60,000.
Let's go 100, even 100.
Yeah, 1.2 million.
Oh. What was on Raw the other?
Fuck if I know. Anything.
Huh.
All right, so Randy Savage beats these geeks up. He cuts a promo on Nash and Dennis Rodman, and at this point, I attempted to do babyface heel math. Okay, so Kevin Nash is a heel, right?
Right.
So if Savage and Hogan's a face,
Right.
Yep.
Hogan's a face, Nash is a heel. So Savage, if he's cutting a promo on Nash, Savage must be a babyface now, right? Which means Dennis Rodman's a heel?
I can't tell. It feels like Savage is a heel.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like Rodman's a babyface.
Because Rodman's a bigger heel. Because
But
Rodman
Rodman
comes out and
did steal
kidnaps
his
Madusa,
woman, yeah.
kidnaps George.
But I mean,
Rodman's
everyone
a
does
jerk.
that.
I guess.
Nash did that when he was a babyface.
And I was a heel.
Sure.
Well, yeah, but so, like,
That was like a week ago.
babyfaces steal her.
Apparently.
That's what we know.
Right. And plus, Kevin doesn't have a cool hat.
Well, I suppose that's true.
Sure.
All he knows is sucked, and Rodman kidnaps George. And how does he kidnap her? Does he throw her over his shoulder because she's like 100 pounds?
Oh, no.
He grabs her by the hand. He starts running.
She's got to keep
This
up.
is Dennis Rodman, an athlete.
A great athlete.
He's fucking running so fast up this ramp.
She's
She's
got
got
these
high heels
heels.
on like this long. She almost breaks both ankles. He drags her ass backstage. Savage has to run after him. He cannot move. Watching this poor fucking guy try to run up the ramp after Dennis Rodman was so sad.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of this ends, and Jason Hervey goes, "That was so cool."
That's what he said.
Like, fuck, get off my TV, dude.
So Savage is on the rampage backstage. Yeah, his girlfriend just got kidnapped for the second time in like a month. Gene is in the ring. Goldberg comes out.
I fucked up my notes, I see. I wrote that Goldberg threatened to kill Bill Goldberg. That didn't happen?
No.
He's trying to kill Kurt Hennig.
Could Bill Goldberg kill Bill Goldberg? That's the question.
That actually is a great philosophical question.
Yes.
That's the
Something
question
you can all think
That's a
about.
question to get high and answer. So he's running down Kurt Hennig. He says, "I'm here. Hennig's next." And Hervey says, "Look how tan Gene is." Ha ha ha, woo!
Yeah, he's terrible.
That's a quote.
Yeah, he's worse than Stryker in some ways.
He might be. I was laughing at him. Stryker makes me angry. Evan Courageous versus Cat.
Oh, Evan's coming down the ramp, and there's
Yes.
this hot, busty blonde. Boy, did he give her the business.
I'll say.
I'll see you later tonight, baby.
He looked right at the camera and says, "I like her smile."
I didn't get that.
Yes.
So Cat offers a handshake. Evan accepts like
Can
a
I tell you
fool.
what I hate about this fucking Ernest Miller?
That's what we're here
They're
for.
doing their usual match, okay? Sonny takes the ref. Ernest Miller gets his briefcase, okay?
Yes.
The ref's distracted. You've got a goddamn briefcase. He can't just hit the guy with the briefcase.
Right.
He puts the briefcase on the ground. He undoes the combination. He opens up the briefcase. Because what he's going to do is, instead of hitting the guy with a briefcase, he's going to open the briefcase. There are shoes inside. He puts the shoes on his feet, which I don't know if you've ever done that, but it takes a few
takes a
seconds
minute,
here.
yeah, sure.
Then he kicks the guys with the shoes, and he pins them. This is so stupid.
And if he's a really good heel, he'll hide the gimmick that he kicked him with.
He's not.
So anyway, he opens up the briefcase. It's rabbit slippers. Bagwell comes out on the ramp with the red shoes, laughing.
With a mic.
And Evan Courageous rolls up Shat and gets the pin. It's fucking terrible.
He got the pin
and
and the
then
girl.
he gets the pin, and Shat just beats him up and leaves him laying like an absolute geek to make sure nobody gets over.
Sure.
This is a bad wrestling show. You know
That
what I mean?
happened. That actually
There
happened.
are things I enjoy in it, but it sucks.
I did notice one thing. The next match. You remember when Mikey had that really great pay-per-view match and then we didn't see him on Nitro for a long
He got in
time?
trouble for having a match that was too good.
And you know who he had that match before? The Cat.
How was it?
That's impossible.
So
That is absolutely impossible.
he outshined the Cat. So this time
His match was better than Cat's.
I see.
Okay, that makes more sense.
they put the Cat on first and put Mikey on second this time.
Let me tell you all something. This Mikey Whipwreck William Regal match was awesome.
Yeah, it was really good.
If you ignore that it's on this show, and you ignore this absolutely dead crowd, and you just watch the professional wrestling match that Mikey Whipwreck and William Regal had, it was so good.
Yeah.
I need to see if Mikey's available for Black Label Pro.
He's actually thinking of opening a training school. So
He has a training school.
No, he's thinking of opening.
reopening it.
I see. Anyway,
So, he loved the opportunity to promote it, is what I'm thinking.
I see. Anyway, they had a fucking great match. It was so great. And then shit happened.
They also had the announcers explained that Finley had injured his leg in the hardcore match the night before and may never wrestle again.
That's true.
Well, it was actually, wasn't that 2 weeks ago? Like, he wrestled on Nitro last week.
Right.
I think it wasn't until after that match they realized how bad he was fucked up. Or the hardcore match was the night before.
No,
this
he
show.
didn't. He didn't get injured in the hardcore match. He actually got injured in a different match.
I see.
Yes.
It was on the road, right?
I don't know exactly where he got injured.
Well, he did in fact suffer nerve and artery damage in his leg that put him on the shelf for literally years.
Yeah. You know what's funny?
Not that.
Not that. No,
I
no.
can't remember what year it was, but it was whenever Buddy and I went up to Kelowna for
Okay,
that
yeah.
show. It's like 2002 or something like that. He was in WWE working
he
as
was
a trainer.
Yes.
So it's before the show. We're just sitting in the stands, just watching everybody in the ring. They're all working out. And Fit Finley comes out, and he gets in the ring. I don't even know why. Maybe do this on every show. But he just starts doing the head springs over and over and over again. And he's in there and he's working. And I'm like, he's the best guy in the whole fucking company right now. What the fuck is he doing as a trainer retired? And then 3 years later, he came back and he was awesome.
Yeah. But the story here is, you recall last week, maybe you won't, Jimmy Hart challenged Finlay to come get your hardcore trophy in Sturgis.
Right.
And then Finlay got hurt, so they just swapped the angle over to Regal. And Jimmy Hart and the First Family come out here and say, come get this hardcore trophy in Sturgis. They leave, and the match continues. And
All right, it was a house show in Jackson, Mississippi, July 25, 1999.
Day before.
Hardcore match with Brian Knobbs. Got thrown into a table in the corner of the ring. It shattered. The shards cut into his leg, severed nerves.
That sucks.
It was like Lance was telling me that the laminate on the table is really, really thin, and the plywood underneath, or the particle board underneath, snapped, and so the laminate actually cut him all the way to the bone.
I don't want to go through tables anymore. It's a bad idea.
Well, not those tables.
It's certainly not that table. So Mikey made his comeback, but Dave Taylor's at ringside with the British flag, just like Johnny Ace has the New Zealand flag on those Crockett shows, and he hit him with the flag.
It was such a good distraction. It was so awesome. I loved it.
And Regal hooked the Regal stretch and won.
Literally, Regal is throwing him into the ropes, and Dave Taylor starts raising the flag, and right then Regal just turns the ref around. Whacked with the thing. The ref does a full turn, turns back around like nothing had happened. Mikey goes down, Regal stretch. This match was so great. I loved it.
Mean Gene brings David Flair out for a promo.
Yes.
David's running down Chris Benoit. Gene makes it clear Rick is not there tonight. He will not be there to bail David out. David is unconcerned. Tori says she wants David to finish this quickly. They have better things to do. And David says it'll be easy as 1, 2, 3.
Gene says, what does that mean? She goes, I can't say.
So David says it'll be easy as 1, 2, 3. And Gene asks him one more question and sticks the mic out. And David just goes,
That's what happened.
and that's that.
Dave actually put over David's promo in the newsletter. I was like, did I watch a different promo? That was fucking terrible.
If he went out there to cut a promo about a green guy who has no charisma, they did a great job. All right, so Savage finds Gorgeous George backstage. She's screaming, she's crying, she appears to have been the victim of something terrible. Savage goes crazy, he goes to Robin's trailer, security holds him back. What are you doing? He abducted this woman.
Well,
And who knows what happened in that trailer?
well, we don't know what happened, so I mean, maybe
Clearly it's
nothing
bad.
happened. We don't know that.
I'm going to take George at her word.
Well, the security didn't.
I guess not.
She's a heel.
Yeah. Shane Douglas is a sit-down promo. It was a little funny
This
because...
is a decade after the young babyface Shane Douglas that we just watched on Sunday.
Yeah. I think he thought they're going to ask me a bunch of questions. I'll give my answers, and they'll edit it into like one piece. So
He should have known better.
he repeated the same stuff over and over again, and they just aired all of it. So he's finally, the time is right for him to come to WCW to fight side by side with his friends, Benoit, Steiner, and Malenko. These are guys you can trust. You can't trust everyone in wrestling, but I can trust my friends, Benoit, Steiner, and Malenko. The time is right to come fight with them. I'm here to cut the cancer called Ric Flair out of wrestling. I'm in Flair's backyard. And he kept repeating stuff, and it finally ended. Kurt Hennig versus Goldberg.
Dude. So aside from the bullshit finish, it is Nitro.
Actually, I love this bullshit finish.
It is
this
so
is a great bullshit finish.
amazing that they can fuck every last single thing up, but with one single solitary exception, they just cannot fuck up Goldberg.
Can't kill him.
This was so great.
It feels like it's been a year since he wrestled on the show. He destroys Hennig. The Cowboys take the ref and clonk him with a cowbell, so Hennig gets some heat. But then he makes his big comeback. All the Cowboys hit the ring. He spears him one by goddamn one.
The fans are jumping up and down.
It's
in
so
the stands,
awesome.
going out of their minds.
And Goldberg turns around, and there's Kurt Hennig with a steel chair. And Goldberg's response is, "Come on." And Hennig looks at him, and he looks at the chair, and he looks at Goldberg, and he turns, and he flees, and the referee disqualifies Kurt Hennig for his cowardice.
Is that what you got out of this?
Yes.
All right. I don't think that's actually what happened, but...
How many times do you see someone weld a chair and not get disqualified?
well, the point was, there were 4 guys in the ring, and Goldberg spearing every single one of them.
That did happen.
This is not a DQ, but he sees Kurt Hennig with a chair, and he calls for the bell.
Right. Because only after Hennig fled.
I see.
He's disqualifying him for his fear.
I mean, they could have had Goldberg pin Kurt Hennig.
Well,
that would have been okay.
This is, first of all, it's great that they did that finish anyway. That Hennig would rather lose, even with a chair in his hand. He would rather turn and run away from Goldberg than fight him. But after the match, Goldberg did goad him into the ring and then very quickly threw him right back out. So now they're building to Goldberg beating Hennig. They get at least 2 segments out of this.
I'll remember you said that.
Remember last week you were talking about Scott Hudson and you were enjoying him until he did one of his stupid insider terms. This week, Jason Harvey was bragging about how he had access to all these WCW clips and how great a job that Goldberg does. And Hudson says, I don't think Goldberg does jobs at all.
But we had a Hogan Nash video package. This, I can only assume, backfired.
Can you imagine trying to make sense of 4 years of WCW booking in one 5-minute video package?
All this did was point out, this NWO thing has been going on for 4 years. And they quoted that. And the truth is, it's been 3 years and like 2 months. But they still said 4 years to make it sound worse. So that's problem number 1. Number 2, they tried, as Brian said, they tried to make sense of everything. But all he did was unfold step by step what had happened in the past 6 months and realize none of this makes any sense.
6 months? Go back 4 years.
Anyway.
Like every now and then they'd be building up to something and they'd be telling you about how these two guys were going to feud. And then it'd be like, they got back together.
that happened a lot. Yes.
I'm like, can someone do this for Bailey and Sasha?
So you're right. It's been horrible for years, but the worst of it has been in the past 6 months since the finger poke of doom.
Well, yeah, because you can't even remember anything that happened.
You can't remember anything that happened.
They're like, Ric Flair won the title, and then Randy Savage and Sid, and Hulk Hogan after Randy Savage fell off a cliff or something.
So Nash won the title, handed it to Hogan, lost the title, helped Hogan win it, now he hates Hogan. What? What the fuck?
That's what happened.
This is a disaster. Madusa wrestled someone named, I'm not making this up, everyone, Patty Stonegrinder.
Vinny, it's Leilani Kai.
I realize that.
You can't just call her Leilani Kai.
Is that... Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah.
I would have called her Leilani Kai.
Patty Stone Grinder.
2 words, Stone Grinder.
Did you notice that somebody was in the ear of the announcers trying to explain what the gimmick for Patty Stonegrinder was?
What was it?
Something off of South Park. That's all I caught.
I see.
Aha.
Cool.
It's a dated reference.
Completely irrelevant, but I actually went to school with a kid whose last name was Stonebreaker.
Stonebreaker.
I've heard Stonebreaker.
Wow.
But it was one word.
All I know is it was actually a decent women's match.
It was a perfectly fine TV match.
Went a little too long.
And then suddenly at the end, Madusa hit like the greatest German suplex of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On Patty Stonegrinder.
Patty Stonegrinder, who is very big by this point.
Yeah.
And she's big and she's also shorter than Madusa. She's got a lower center of gravity. But Madusa somehow got her hips under Patty Stonegrinder's and flipped her high in the air.
She bent her legs.
And hit this perfect neck bridge. It was awesome. Shane Douglas versus Scott Putski. Remember on Sunday when I said Shane had gained 30 pounds in 10 years? I was wrong. It's at least 60.
Dude, he's fat, he's slow, he's heavy.
Trying to be nice.
Road zoned him.
With that said, he had a perfectly fine match.
Oh, dude. This is Shane Douglas' debut to feud with Ric Flair.
Yeah. He's going toe-to-toe with Scott Putski.
Yeah.
It was not a bad wrestling match. It's not like they were fucking stuff up, but is there a worse way to get a guy over on his first night than have him go toe-to-toe with Scott Putski?
We could have lost.
That's true.
That's about the only way.
Lucha Underground would have had him lose.
He went 50-50 with this guy. It wasn't very good. He hits his big-ass pile driver, but then that's not the finish. And then he hits his Pittsburgh plunge. All I know is I had zero interest in ever seeing him wrestle again after this match.
I don't blame you.
And he's supposed to be coming into feud with Ric Flair.
That's the plan. That's the plan. By the way, during this match, the announcers are having a discussion. Who do you think Kevin Nash's tag team partner is going to be? Might be someone who doesn't even work for WCW.
Sure. It might be a guy that we can't
say that name.
We can't say that name.
We'll get in trouble. Brian, would you like the floor?
I would like the floor for just a moment here. Hey, listen. I can't do justice to this match, okay? What's the date of the show, Vinny?
July 26th, 1999, episode 201 of
Okay.
Monday Nitro.
Flair's in Japan with Reed. He's 11, competing in the Destroyer Dick Byers wrestling tournament. He's not there. David's on his own. He's in there with the crippler Chris Benoit. Who, by the way, the one negative about this is when Tom and I were watching all of the Royal Rumbles, like, I've never had a problem watching Benoit on these old shows. I just try and separate Benoit from Benoit.
Yeah.
But man, you start watching WWE in 2003, 4, 5, he's starting to look like a crazy dude. It's way more uncomfortable watching him in WWE in the mid-2000s than it is watching him in Nitro in the 90s, because he doesn't look like such a mutant like he does in the early 2000s. Anyway, he kind of had that look here. So it's a little uncomfortable watching this one. But he's given David the eye. Like, boy, you're just going to get slaughtered here. And everyone wants to see David Flair slaughtered. And everybody knows what Chris Benoit does in the ring. And everybody knows what David Flair does. It's like the perfect dynamic. So young David gets in there. The first thing Benoit does is he locks up and he just fucking kills him with an STO. Drops him right on the back of his head. Everybody goes, oh, hits on. David can't even figure out how to stand up. He stands up, he kind of stumbles around the ring. He does that guy who doesn't know how to wrestle stumble. You know what I mean? He's kind of just,
yes, I'm very familiar with it,
he sort of goes like this and walks around. And Benoit's just looking at him like, I have great respect for your father.
I'm disgusted with you.
But man, the one thing about Benoit was he really deeply respected the business. You understand? I don't think he actually disliked David Flair, because the whole thing with David Flair was he was never supposed to do this. He was supposed to do one angle with Rick, and apparently they the WCW people saw it and they were like, fuck, let's just do something with this guy. He never wanted to be in wrestling. He never wanted to do this. He was forced into doing all of this stuff. And I'm sure that Benoit knew that. So I'm sure he wasn't in here looking at the guy like, man, you're disrespecting this business. I'm just going to slaughter you. So he gets in there, takes him down again, blows his nose on him. David does his struggle back to his feet. And then Chris Benoit lifts him up, and he just rears back, and he fucking chopped David Flair so hard. And David takes a bump, and you can just see, I remembered this I told you guys about this. I'm watching it again here. Everybody in the crowd,
years now, yes.
They get up to their feet, and there's a guy across from the hard cam that just goes, oh my God.
Hidden hands.
David gets back in the ring, and Benoit just starts chopping him. And he's chopping him with such fury. And every time David tries to drop down, Benoit lifts him back up and he chops him again. The fans are just going absolutely crazy for him. Benoit lifts him up, he gives him the back suplex, puts him in the crab. It's like over. The greatest squash you've ever seen. David's tapping like crazy. Charles Robinson will not rule him the winner. So Benoit gets in there, snap suplex, goes up top for the headbutt, puts him in the crossface, and fucking DDP runs down and he hits the belt shot for the DQ, and David retains his title.
It's not a DQ.
Yeah.
He put David on top.
Oh, that's right. He puts David on top for the finish.
Right.
Hey, listen. When I was watching this, I didn't care who won. Okay.
Sure.
I could not care less that David Flair actually pinned Chris Benoit. It was such a glorious beating, and Chris Benoit did not hurt David Flair.
No.
David Flair did not wake up the next day with a broken neck or like an injured arm or anything like that. He may have had a red chest.
Oh, yeah.
Benoit gave him such a realistic, believable beating that grown men were covering their heads in the crowd. He didn't hurt the guy. It was a work of art. It was a masterpiece of a squash.
A masterpiece.
My favorite one was when Benoit had him in the corner and he goes to throw a chop and David pulls his shoulder in to block the chop just a little bit.
Don't ever do that, everyone.
So Benoit grabs his hand, he throws it over the rope and just kills him.
No, in the long run,
there's
everyone,
no way to
leaning your shoulder into a chop will just make the guy make sure you get two that are harder.
Oh,
Just take your chops,
God.
guys.
Just beat him.
What a beating.
So
great.
I'm watching this, and it can be, I guess distasteful is the best word, uncomfortable watching Benoit matches. It's impossible not to watch this match. You must watch every second of this to take it all in. It's such a glorious meeting. And the more I watched this, the more I thought about it. I said, you know what? Up to this point on Nitro, I mean, they brought Benoit and they did a lot of stuff with him. He was like a U.S. champion and a tag team champion. And, you know, you could tell that they liked him and they knew he could fit it anywhere on the show. Good guy, bad guy, singles, tag, whatever, and he'll do a good job. But this was the first time where I really felt like I was watching a legit main eventer. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think this squash of David Flair was a very important match in Benoit's career. I honestly think his performance here was so dominant and unbelievable and great that this was the stepping stone to what eventually made him a top guy, even though by the time they made him a top guy, he couldn't wait to get out.
Yeah.
But still.
Not to mention, I raved about Austin Aries versus Moose. But you know what? Moose has been in the business for a while, and he is a great athlete, and he can be carried. David Flair was a mannequin.
Yes.
Sure.
He was the broom that his father carried all those years.
Yes.
That's actually exactly right.
And Benoit went in there and had such a great match with this guy. Oh, I loved it.
It was amazing.
An all-time great squash match.
It was
still to this day.
I still think Angle versus Roderick Strong is the best squash match I ever saw. But this is
I agree.
a great
actually.
one. The Jersey Triad and Revolution is what they're called now. This is Douglas, Benoit, Malenko group. They brawled for a bit. Rick Steiner versus Chase Tatum.
Yeah.
So Chase Tatum is the big jacked up white dude from the No Limit Soldiers.
Yeah, Master P's already gone.
Oh, really?
Got their money's worth.
That didn't last long.
You got the hootie hoo out of there, huh?
So Chase Tatum's coming down to the ring. And I'm thinking, God, this guy's enormous. And he gets in the ring and I realize Rick Steiner's bigger. He's not a bodybuilder, but he's a bigger man. Mm-hmm. Now, on any other show, I would be raving about what a tremendous squash this was. It just couldn't follow the glory of Benoit David Flair.
It could not.
It was a great squash watching Steiner take, and the guy had some training, but again, Steiner was going to make sure this guy respected the business. And he manhandled him, and he worked him over, and he gave him some offense, and then hit a belly-to-back suplex right on the guy's head, and the diving bulldog for the win.
I always love in Rick Steiner matches, he'll take a guy down, he'll cross-face him, mm-hmm. He'll put his knee in their back. He'll just beat the shit out of him.
He'll little brother him, basically.
He will legitimately beat the shit out of him. Then he'll lift him up. He'll whip him in. And he'll be like, clothesline me. Yeah. He'll just take a spot from him.
Absolutely.
It's I love it.
Okay, brother. Hulk Hogan and Sting versus Kevin Nash and a mystery partner.
Oh, who could it be?
So they have been teasing this for 3 hours now. Hogan comes out. Sting comes out. Nash comes out. There is a pause, and then who should appear on the stage but Sid Vicious, the guy who was standing by Nash's side when this whole thing started at the beginning of the show.
Can't believe it.
The announcers are blown away. It's Sid Vicious! Like he hasn't been seen in years. Like he hasn't been a regular part of the show for every week now.
Do you remember, Vinny, how on Sunday I was talking about the rock and roll match and how Ricky Morton told me to punch him, and I hate punching, and I threw a terrible punch and I hit him in the face?
Yeah.
At least I am for the face. Sid's fucking punches to the chest. Just John Cena at least tries to hit the face.
Sure.
Sid rears back like this and he punches people right here in the sternum.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he sucked. The answer, he sucked. Tim asked me once, why are you punching me in the shoulder? Because I sucked.
Dude, your punches were better than Sid's.
They may have been, actually.
Let's talk about my favorite spot in this match. Which, by the way, you know how we always watch these shows and there's something from today that coincidentally is happening back then?
Sure.
You know who passed away on Friday?
Oh, no.
Rayo de Jalisco Sr.
Yeah.
Rayo de Jalisco. Do you remember what his big move was? The backwards diving headbutt tope.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
19 fucking years ago this week. 19 years ago, the week that Rayo de Jalisco died. Sting is in the ring. And I forget who he's in with. I presume it's got to be...
One of the big clumsy guys.
Actually, it was Nash, actually.
I was right.
Nash goes to whip him across. I don't know what their plan was, okay? But Sting apparently thought, I'm supposed to do a headstand out of the corner, and this 7-footer is going to run underneath me. I think he thought that.
Sure.
I don't know if Nash thought that, but Nash whips him across. Sting runs. He grabs the top rope with 2 hands. He begins to vault, but he just stops.
And so does Nash.
And Nash stops, and they both have stopped. And then Sting, I swear to God, Sting just goes, ah! And he jumps up in the air backwards like this. And he runs into Nash. They both fucking fall down. I cried. I watched this over and over and over again. I have no idea what they were thinking. I have no idea what they were trying. Nash did not keep running. Sting started the headstand but stopped. So that must not have been the move. but I don't know what the move is supposed to be. And Sting's reaction to just stop and leap backwards like this in the air and run into Ned, they both fall down. It is the best. This is the best Nitro of all time. There's so much good stuff on this show. And that set up the hot tag.
That's right.
They didn't even go to do something better.
Before the hot tag, several minutes before the hot tag, in fact, Sid's in there with Hogan. And Hogan's doing the mounted punches in the corner. And Sid picks him up and goes to the reverse atomic drop.
Yes.
And I think the idea was that Hogan would land on his feet and punch him. But when Hogan went down, his freshly surgically repaired knee tweaked him.
On the left.
Yeah, he blew out his knee.
He panicked and went down.
Yeah, because he blew out his knee on that spot.
Did he legit blow out his knee?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
He hurt his knee.
He was able to...
I forgot about that,
And
but I just
then-
remembered.
Well, he was able to keep going.
Before that, Sid knew something was wrong,
Yes.
and he reaches down and he
said-
pulls Hogan to his feet.
He holds his hand out. Hogan takes his hand, and Sid pulls him up. And then they can't realize what they're doing, and they go, Sid pushes him back down.
He's so polite. Mr. Hogan fell down.
Mr. Hogan.
He's got to help him back up.
So they keep doing this match, and you can tell Hogan's leg is bothering